Hey, thanks for stopping by another No BS social media video. Today we're talking about, well, what I would think would be common sense, but I know in the world we live in, and I'll be honest with you, I'm guilty about it too. We sometimes want to go from, 0 to 60 miles an hour in an instant. We want to go from 0 fans, followers, friends, to 100, to 1,000, to 10,000. Whatever it is, we want to take shortcuts. And sadly, and I've talked about this numerous times throughout the No BS videos, but there are very few shortcuts. Sure, you know what? You can go out and buy the fans and the friends and the followers and things like that, but those shortcuts are short-lived. Do they really work for you? I think sometimes we need to plan ahead. Too many times I work with, specifically with recording artists, who just before they're getting ready to release their first single, they then decide to get on Facebook. They then decide to get on Twitter. They then decide to get started. And they haven't planned ahead. If you're creating some kind of strategy, whether it's for yourself, for a client, for a business, whatever, you need to take time to work the social media channels. You can't just go from, 0 to being popular in an instant. Especially like when we take artists to radio, when we're taking them out, promoting their single to radio and things like that, if they've got small numbers, radio doesn't take them seriously. Radio wants to see big numbers, but you don't want to fake those numbers because those can come back to bite you too. You've got to do it organically. You've got to do it the right way. You've got to walk before you run. You've got to crawl before you can walk. And I know it's frustrating, and I know it's tough, and I know everybody wants to get up to speed and wants to, take these social media tools and master them quickly and master them easily and just get on with it. But again, just like anything, whether it's something that costs you, because I know social media doesn't necessarily cost you except for your time, unless you're buying advertising, unless you're buying friends and followers. Really, the thing you're putting in, the cost is in your time, which is very valuable. And sadly, you've got to put in the hours. There's the people who talk about, and I don't remember, it's been talked about a lot lately, I don't know if it was in Outliers or wherever it was at, where you've got to put in your 10,000 hours. You got to put in 10,000 hours of any activity, of any skill, of any talent, till you really, I don't want to say master it, till you really finally get to a point where you can be considered a true pro, a true professional. Sure, you're a professional when you get paid, but with social media, since you're not really paying for anything, you still have to put in the time and the effort to master it. You still have to put in the time and do the work. You can't just, walk before you run. You know what? Some people get lucky. There are always exceptions to the rules. But as I found with social media, everybody wants to grow so rapidly. And the problem is you've got to put in the hard work, you got to put in the time, and you got to work the angles. You've got to see what works and then keep doing more of it. Sure, there are ways to cheat. There are ways to get around it, just like there were in sports with sports sports performance drugs with all the shots and the injections and the pills and things like that they were using in bicycle racing or in baseball or anything like that. Those steroids, if you will, to get past the basics. Sure, there are steroids, if you will, in social media as well. The paid followers, the paid subscribers, the paid views, the paid whatever. But are you really getting ahead with those things? You need to think about that. You need to crawl before you walk. You need to walk before you run. I'm sure there are exceptions, but in the social media world, you don't see very many of them happen. And if it does happen for you, if something magical does happen, you need to be prepared for that too. Another No BS social media update next week. All my contact information here coming up at the end of the video. I hope you stick through that and hope you reach out and let's talk social media. Find me online anywhere, either through the Intensity Media social media channels or through my own personal, which is usually just Kevin Mason or Kevin Mason Music. All one word is the user. See you next week.